Studies. This is Mr. Melendez, and I'll be bringing you your next lesson topic 5.4, Pearl Harbor. So, our focus question is, how did the bombing on Pearl Harbor lead to the United States entering World War II? So, as we've discussed in previous lessons, especially during World War I, that there has to be some kind of spark, some kind of action that propels us to want to be in war. And for the United States, it was Pearl Harbor. The attack on Pearl Harbor is what thrust us into World War II. So, in front of you in this video, as you can see, this is a document that you will have that's available for you on Google Classroom. So the first thing that you want to do is analyze the pictures that are given to you for the do now question. So the main purpose of this video is I am actually going to read aloud the two documents that you will be reading and analyzing, and then afterwards you'll be answering the associated questions for those documents. Okay, once again, this video, which is for reading aloud the documents, this is optional. If you feel like that you're getting stuck, there's certain words that you don't understand or maybe hard to pronounce, or you're not just getting the gist of the document, hopefully by me reading out loud and throughout the document, I will stop and maybe emphasize something in the document, or maybe go over a word that I might believe that you may have difficulty understanding. So let's go ahead, and when you open up your document, you're going to get to this part right here, which is document 1. Analyze the document and answer the following questions. So I'm going to scroll up. That way you have a better snapshot and you can read along with me as I read aloud. On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor held a 22,000-acre naval base in Oahu, Hawaii. U.S. bombers, using bombers, torpedo bombers, and midget submarines. On December 8th, President Franklin D. Roosevelt delivered his infamy speech to American citizens, informing them that this occurred despite the fact that the U.S. was in the middle of talks to keep peace with Japan. That same day, with congressional approval, America entered into World War II. The infamy speech that is bolded in black is the second document that you will be reading. It's the actual speech that President Roosevelt gives over the radio. Okay, second paragraph. Since Emperor Hirohito, Japan's wanted to expand in territory and power like some European countries. It needed natural resources like oil and aluminum found in the Netherlands East Indies. These islands are found in the Pacific. Standing in opposition to Japanese conquest was what Japan's leader termed the Southern Resource Area was the United States. A plan was developed to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor to allow time for Japan to take over the resources area it needed. Japan wanted to take over and have control of the entire Pacific Ocean. Third paragraph. Early in the morning on December 7th, more than 350 Japanese planes attacked about 33 American ships on orders of Vice Admiral Nagumo. America sustained a loss of nearly 170 aircraft destroyed and 160 damaged that morning, as well as 3 ships destroyed and 16 damaged. 3,700 Americans lost their lives, including 68 civilians. The Japanese loss was 29 aircraft, 5 midget submarines, and 130 service personnel, all killed in action. All right. Now that I've read the document aloud, go ahead and take your time in answering the 2 questions that are associated with this document. I'm going to go ahead and move to document 2, which is the actual speech that President Roosevelt gave the day after, and it's always been titled the Day of Infamy Speech. So let's go ahead and I'll read that out loud. President FDR Day of Infamy speech. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate, and of the House of Representatives. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. So what does the word infamy means? I'm going to scroll down to a question because this question lets you know that infamy means disgrace, dishonor, or great wickedness. I'm going to go back. The United States was at peace with that nation and, at the solicitation of Japan, meaning at the request of Japan, was still in conversation with its government and its emperor looking toward the maintenance of peace in the Pacific. Indeed, 1 hour after Japanese air squadron had commenced bombing in the American islands of Oahu, the Japanese ambassador to the United States and his colleague delivered to our Secretary of State a formal reply to a recent American message. And while this reply stated that it seemed useless to continue to exist diplomatic negotiations, it contained no threat or hint of war or an armed attack. So what it's saying here is that even though the talks were not going the way it should, basically it just hit a wall, that there was no sign that Japan was angry at the United States. No kind of hint that Japan was going to attack the United States or go or declare war against the United States. Fourth paragraph. It will be recorded that the distance of Hawaii from Japan makes it obvious that the attack was deliberately planned many days or even weeks ago. So deliberately means that it was done on purpose. This was not a spur of the moment. All right, this was not a reaction. This was actually planned. During the intervening time, the Japanese government has deliberately sought to deceive the United States by false statements and expressions of hope for continued peace. So as these peace talks were going between the United States and Japan, that Japan was basically smiling at the United States and saying, yeah, we're okay, everything is fine. But at the same time, they were planning this attack. So that's why it was very deliberate. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. I regret to tell you that very many American lives had been lost. In addition, American ships have been reported torpedoed on the high seas between San Francisco, that's in California, and Honolulu, another island in Hawaii. Yesterday, the Japanese government also launched an attack against Malaya. Last night, Japanese forces attacked Hong Kong, which is in China. Last night, Japanese forces attacked Guam, a very small island in the Pacific, close to Japan. Last night, Japanese forces attacked the Philippine Islands, also in the Pacific. Last night, the Japanese attacked Wake Island, and this morning, the Japanese attacked Midway Island. All of these that are mentioned are all located in the Pacific Ocean. Japan has, therefore, undertaken a surprise offensive extending throughout the Pacific area. The facts of yesterday and today speaks for themselves. The people of the United States have already formed their opinions and well understand the implications to the very life and safety of our nation. As Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy, I have directed that all measures be taken for our defense, but always will our whole nation remember the character of the onslaught against us. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory. Premeditated meaning that it was planned before. I believe that I interpret the will of the Congress and of the people when I assert that we will not only defend ourselves to the uttermost, but will make it very certain that this form of treachery shall never again endanger us. Hostilities exist. There is no blinking at the fact that our people, our territory, and our interests are in grave danger. Grave danger meaning like super serious danger. With confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph. So help us God. I ask that the Congress declare that since the unprovoked and dastardly attack by Japan on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, a state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire. Now that you have heard the read aloud, and hopefully you have read it as well as I was reading aloud and analyzed it, go ahead and answer these 4 questions that are based on the document. All right, so sorry that this video might be a little bit long, but I wanted to read both documents. Go ahead and also look at the 2 videos that are attached to this assignment. One video kind of gives you an overall snapshot of what was happening in Europe and tying into the attack on Pearl Harbor. The second video is actually it's actual real video of Pearl Harbor the day after it is attacked. So you get to see all the destruction that took place when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. So go ahead and look at those 2 videos. All right, social studies. Have a good day.